That's all right. We're going to have a little conversation about small business. When Gene called me a few months ago to see if I'd come speak to your annual meeting, I protested a little bit and told Gene there's a lot more people out there that know more about small business than me. But Gene said, no, I want you to come. I want you to kind of shy away from your traditional economic development talk and talk a little bit more about small business, because that's what SCORE is about, and that's what you as advisors and members of the chapter deal with on a day in and day out basis. So we went to work at our organization and did a lot of research, and so I hope to tell you a little bit about small business, some of the challenges that face small businesses, and then what small business means to the economy. And I think that you'll find, and I found through doing a lot of this research, that a lot of times small business doesn't get the credit it deserves. And a lot of the importance and a lot of the notoriety goes towards more bigger corporations. And I think you'll find out through some of these stats. But what I do, before I dive into some of the small business talk that I've got for you today, I want to tell you a little bit about our organization, the Economic Development Alliance. And the organization is not new, although we play a role that sometimes is behind the scenes. And our organization is a private, nonprofit organization that's funded by private business and then also all the municipalities and then the county government here in Baldwin County. We are exactly what our name says we are. We're an alliance. We're an alliance with the 5 chambers of commerce in Baldwin County, including the Eastern Shore Chamber. I see Darylyn in the back, a good friend and supporter, and she does a great job here in the chamber with her small business community here with the Eastern Shore Chamber. But the 5 chambers of commerce appoint my board. So Darylyn appoints 5 private business members of her board of directors to my board. And so we operate that way with all of our chamber partners. But we also operate with our other small business partners. Brent here with the SBA and Mel with the SBDC. Yo Johnson, I know here recently, is one of the advisors here in Baldwin County. And Yo actually serves on our board of directors. And so close partnerships with those 2 organizations, because as Darylyn and I know, with all the strategic things on our plate, small business is a part of that, and we want to see small business be successful in our county and in our local areas. But we know we can't do it. One organization can't do that alone, and that's why you have SCORE, you have SBA, and you have SBDC, and our banking partners, and all others that work to help small business be successful. And I'll tell you a little bit about what's making that challenging this day and age. There's a lot of challenges out there for small businesses. But our county has been successful. Our county's been successful as it relates to small business, as it relates to a location for businesses to thrive. We're seated in one of the top 5 business-friendliest communities in the state. Actually, Fairhope was ranked number 1 as the most business-friendly community in the state of Alabama. You're sitting in one of the best places to start a business. Baldwin County was recognized as one of the top 50 places to start a business and for a small business to thrive. Forbes has us as one of the best places to locate a business. So you've got some reputable firms out there that see Baldwin County and parts of Baldwin County as great places for businesses, although the environment is challenging out there, but for those businesses to thrive. Besides Brent, who in the room can tell me how SBA recognizes a small business or defines a small business? How many? How many employees?
I think it's over
500. We have 500 and below is how the SBA recognizes and defines a small business. There are over 28 million small businesses in the U.S., according to that designation. Over 22 million of that 28 million are what they call non-employers, which means it's one person. There's no additional payroll outside of that one person working there. 50% of the U.S. working population is classified as a small business. So half of the country's workers are in that classification of working for a small business. Since 1995, 65% of the net new jobs were created by small businesses. 543,000 new businesses start each month according to that classification. And you'd think that's a lot. That is a lot of businesses each month starting as small businesses. But more than that number fail or go out of business each month as well. So it's actually a net negative number there for small businesses. 7 out of 10 new businesses survive the first 2 years in their small business infancy. Half survive 5 years, and only a third survive 10 years. So you can see that the environment for a small business is treacherous out there. 52% of the 28 million are home-based. Home-based. Don't hang a shingle in an office. Don't pay rent at an office at a place of business. And 75% of all U.S. businesses are non-employers. That's an amazing stat to me, that 75% of our businesses here in the U.S. are one-person businesses. The failure rates and the statistics about survival for small businesses when we dove into the research were really the startling thing for me. And so what we did is we kind of dug a little deeper into that. Why? Why are small businesses failing at the rate that they're failing, or why are they not? Why are they deciding to go do something else? Only 40% of small businesses are profitable. That's one stat that stands out to you. They're losing money. They're not making money. 30% of them break even. So, at best, 60% of businesses are break even or losing money out there in the small business world, and 30% continuously lose money. It's amazing to think about all the adversities that are out there for small businesses, and the numbers tell you exactly where they are. According to CNN Money, some of the top adversities that face small business owners and small businesses out there: financing. Bill, we need your help in that department. Employee turnover. A lot of small businesses, and I'm a small business. We have 3 people on our staff. Our organization is considered a small business. Employee turnover, HR headaches. One of the number one things that face a small business. Time management. Most people that run a small business are great at that small business, that talent, that discipline that they employ to do their small business. And the reason that SCORE is around is because a lot of them aren't good at business. And that's why you're here. And that's why you're such an integral part of the chambers, our partnership, SBA and SBDC, because we need you guys to counsel these people. We're not small business counselors. We're economic developers. We're chamber reps. And we understand that we understand business. We understand how to make sure that we're growing a good business environment here. But we're not small business entrepreneurs like some of you were and are. So we need that counseling that you provide. Marketing costs. It's expensive to get your name out there. It's expensive to create your brand and grow your brand. Technology. The ever-changing technology is pressing down upon small businesses. And the change is happening out there. And really big corporations are the ones that are able to adapt to change and move to change quickly because they have the resources and they have the people to do so. Changing customer demands. A lot of times small businesses, these one person and 2 or 3 people small businesses are really dependent on their customer base. And we as customers are fickle. We as retailers and people who decide where we spend our money at restaurants, whether we like the food, at retail places, whether we like the clothing, we change. And guess what? We can change whenever we want to. Social media. You heard your Facebook page referenced earlier. It's a big key of how you grow your brand, but it's also a big key of how you can lose your brand. And so there's a lot of debate out there in the world about how good is social media for your business, and how do you manage your image on social media, because one bad instance on the internet can really cost you a lot in business. And then Obamacare. The Affordable Health Care Act. We've all been hearing the news as it takes effect tomorrow, or some parts of it take effect tomorrow. We're looking at it ourselves. Our board met last week to understand what the implications are going to be on just the 3 people we have in our office. And today I read a stat that showed that they've broken down how each state's cost is different. So each state now will have a different cost of the Health Care Act. Therefore, another layer that businesses will then take into account when they're looking at locating in a place, the cost of their employees for health care in the health exchanges. So it's a very tough world, and the adversities are many. There's a lot of challenges to small businesses, and a lot that you guys can help them with, and a lot of your expertise in these backgrounds and these top categories of adversities. The top 2 job classifications in Baldwin County are food and accommodation and retail. And taking those 2 top job classifications in our county into account, we dug a little bit into those businesses and those small business categories. It turns out that all of those are considered high-risk small businesses. Imagine that. The restaurant industry itself. During the recession, the number of independent restaurants declined by almost 7,200. 60% of all restaurants fail. In your first year, 30% failed. In your second year, 45% fail. And by year 3, 60% of all restaurants fail. Some of the leading indicators of that, owners are often skilled at food. They're skilled at food, they're skilled at preparing food, they're skilled at hospitality. They're terrible at doing business. And that's where some of you can help. Lend your business expertise to these restaurant entrepreneurs out there. Their ability to compete. A lot of times the success rate and failure rate of a restaurant is higher in more crowded restaurant markets. So if there's a lot of restaurants in an area or a region, the success rate is going to be harder to achieve. And then marketing. It's hard to fight the clutter in the restaurant business, to get your name out there and get your niche. I think this building is proof of that. I think there's been several restaurants that have given it a go in this facility. Another high-risk business that's one of our top employers in Baldwin County, retail. 80% of retail clothing stores fail in the first 5 years. 80%. That's tough. Poor management, tough competition, and poor marketing are the top 3 things cited of why retail businesses do not make it. High traffic locations are important. Got to have volume in that business. And then retail stores, as some of you may or may not know who have ever owned a retail business, are very capital intensive. Some of the top, and then direct sales. How many of you buy Advocare or Nerium or Amway or any of the old wholesale markets? That's the third high business risk, direct sales. Only 20% of retail products are purchased through direct sales reps. So you see all these people claiming to make a lot of money and selling these home-based. Mary Kay, Amway, and Pampered Chef are some of the top 3 direct sale, wholesale companies. 99% of direct sales reps suffer significant financial loss because a lot of them are putting their own personal money into this business. So that's another high. That's a high rate there, 99%. That's a low margin. Unreal. I want to talk to you about the impact of small business, and then tell you a little bit. We came up with in doing some of our research, we came up with the top 10 most entrepreneurial states. Alabama is not in that top 10. Montana, Vermont, New Mexico, Alaska, and Mississippi are your top 5. Imagine that. California, Idaho, Hawaii, Louisiana, and Nevada round out the top 10 of those states. I think that's according to the Small Business Chronicle publication there. 23 million small business in America account for 54%. The number of small businesses in the U.S. just since '82 has increased 49%. So small business is on the rise. And what I want to leave you with today is, small businesses are very important to our economy, especially locally, regionally, nationally. The stats don't lie. You can't hide the fact that they're important. However, their vitality is at its lowest. And the challenges that are facing small businesses, and Brent and Melvin here, you guys know this better than anybody, and the SCORE advisors, you see it, because you got people continuing to come back to you for counseling. That's a good sign. But it's also a tough sign because it means that the adversities that face them out there are inhibiting them from growing their business or getting into business successfully. It's an important part of our economy. It's an important part of what we do every day is to grow our local economy. But I wanted to leave you with this impression, is that the top 2 job classifications in our county are the highest risk categories, according to many, many statistics. So it's incumbent upon us to help these businesses, help them be profitable, help them, give them all the tools and resources they can to succeed. But it's also incumbent upon us to diversify these categories. And it's what Darylyn and I do every day when we wake up, is to leverage all the resources that we can, make sure that the folks out there in the corporate sector know of the advantages and the location advantages we have here in Baldwin County and the parts of Baldwin County we represent, to make sure that we're not taking away from these categories. These categories are very important to the biggest part of our economy, which is tourism. We don't want to harm that. But what we want to do is diversify and add to that. So that the 30,000 people that leave Baldwin County every day to have to go work somewhere else have the opportunity to work here and do the job they have here. We're happy that they go somewhere else, make money, and bring it back here and spend it. There's nothing wrong with that, because more than likely they're bringing it back to spend it on small businesses. So I'll close with that. I hope that you enjoyed an economic developer coming and talking about small business. Usually everybody wants to know about big business when the economic developer's at the podium. But what we want to do is let you know that not every, there's a stat out there that says more than 80% of new jobs are created by existing businesses. And that's an important stat. It's important to know that our existing businesses are very important and that their growth is very important. But not every existing business has always been an existing business. A lot of our existing businesses out there at one time had to locate here, had to decide to choose Baldwin County or Fairhope or the Eastern Shore over another location. And that's what we do every day, is to make sure that our elected officials, the policymakers, and the business environment here is favorable. And the stats don't lie. We're a great place to locate a business. And we're getting that word out there more and more so that more businesses know that they can locate here, be successful here, and will employ people here. So therefore our small business will continue to thrive when that payroll jumps up and that money gets spread around this community for small businesses to succeed. So thank you for having me with you, Gene. Appreciate you, George. Thank you for having me with you. I'll be glad to take any questions that you may have, although I may defer some of them to Brent or Melvin. So, thank you for being here.
We know in general your comments, but the statistics are startling.
They are.
And the effect that small business has on our economy is so important. And it makes our job here, our mission here, even more important.
Absolutely. You're very vital to the what SCORE does and what you do as advisors of your own free voluntary time. Your background is important. It's important for you to lend your expertise to these businesses and these business owners, because really, without them, they can kind of get lost in the shuffle out there. And without you guys helping them navigate and understanding the challenges that are out there, a lot of them, not everybody's meant to be in small business, and not everybody's meant to own their own business. And it's incumbent upon you to let them know what the adversities are and then help them navigate those. And I think it's, with Hutch and the stats for just your chapter, I think it's very evident that you guys are doing a great job in counseling these small businesses.
Thank you. Well, I can speak for all of our mentors that we have so many people come that want to go into business and they just simply don't understand it, don't understand what to do or how to do it. So hopefully we move them along and they start a business and they bring in both economy and manpower here in this county.
Great.
Thank you, Lee.
Thanks for having me.
Great.
Thank you.